Hey everyone, it's Jack, and today I'm going to take a look at Makulu Max. Makulu Max is a Debian-based distro, and it is hot off the press, but not yet released to the public as of the time of this video. However, I got a copy of it not too long ago. I did a video on Makulu Shift, and Makulu Shift was something where you could like shift between desktop layouts, and it was really an amazing release. When I got Makulu Max, I really just had to say, wow, let's take a look. So what the heck is Makulu Max anyways? Well, Makulu Max is a mix between Shift and GameR. So right now, as you know, there's two releases, Makulu Shift and GameR. Makulu Shift was something that I reviewed a while back, and with Shift you can shift between different desktop layouts, and it's really cool. And if you haven't seen the video, you might want to check it out. So the way they describe it is that in some ways it's the best part of both worlds between Shift and GameR, and they don't intend to release this to the public yet. So I have an advanced copy of this thanks to Miss Loff. So Miss Loff, I really appreciate that. You are awesome, and big shout out to you for sure. And like I said, they don't intend to release it to the public yet as of the time of this video. However, it is running extremely stable, but right now they're more focused on getting the GameR distro released, and then the Max distro, which is the Debian, will follow afterwards. So I can't wait to dig into this and see what it's like. So come on along and let's take a sneak peek at this and see what it's like. Okay, here we are in our boot screen. So this is our live ISO. We got it loaded in, so I'm just gonna load this up and we'll just do a really quick install. It uses the Calamares installer, so it should only take a few minutes, but nothing we haven't been through a million times before. But I just want to run through it real quick just in case anything changed, and we can have a look at our live environment real quick too, just to see what it looks like. So here we are, we got our live desktop environment, and it looks beautiful. We got our plank down here on the bottom. That's looking really gorgeous. I love the background here on the wallpaper. And then of course we have our desktop manager and our panel up on top. And here's our app launcher, looking good. I'm just gonna get right to it, open up our live installer. So I'm just gonna hit that. And you can see there's effects on there already. That's one of the features of Makulu Max, is it's got a lot of really cool effects. I'm just going to hit next here, all the defaults, and then just hit erase disk. So we'll select that. Easy peasy. And then I'll just type in a username and pop down here, put in a password. And then I think I'll uncheck login automatically, but I'll check use the same password for the administrator account. Excellent. And then we'll hit next. And that should be it actually. And there's a summary of everything we did. And next, and that's all there is to it. So I'm gonna let it do its thing. Here you can see where it says you can easily switch between multiple layouts, like between panel mode and so forth. That's actually Makulu Shift. So I don't think that really applies to Makulu Max. Special effects, there we go. That I think is one of the big features of this release, I believe. Okay, I'm all done here. So I'm going to go ahead and restart. And if everything went okay, it'll work. And if not, I'm going to go. Okay, here's our menu. And so that looks good. I'm going to hit enter. And so far, so good. Looks like it's using the 5.18.0-4 kernel. So that's latest and greatest in my book. And again, this is a Debian release. And so I'm happy to see a new kernel. Nice. Okay, and there's our login. So it's looking good so far. And here's our desktop, and looking good. Wow, this is gorgeous right off the bat. And here we have our panel on the bottom here. And I think that is Plank that they're using. And so we got our package updater and show desktop, settings, and then our Makulu setup manager, which is what we're looking at right now. And so this is kind of what we're greeted here when we first get in. And here you can click that if you need to do some extra setup for your drivers, or if you want to set up a firewall. Your keyboard language settings here, which I think are already probably installed, but you can add additional. And then you got your backup, online accounts, and a donation. button. Here on our online accounts, if you click that, then if you're a big fan of online accounts or you want to integrate it with Google or Nextcloud, Microsoft Exchange, and all this other stuff, that's the place to do it, and they make it really easy for you. So that's our welcome screen. Pretty straightforward and short and sweet. I like that. Beautiful Conky up here. We got a nice clock with a date up there, some headlines on the project, and then interesting quotes of the day. Nice. Like it. And then let's take a look at our desktop manager. You can get it right here on the icon. It's also accessible, and there's our wobbly windows when you right click on the desktop. But I like that. It's got the wobbly effect. So that's really cool. And right now we're in dock mode, I believe. So we got our panel up here on top. And there is our power strip and language settings and so forth. And it also shows that software updates are ready. So I guess I could just kind of run that while I'm looking at the welcome stuff. And here it looks like it's got about 4 different things. So I'll just hit restart and update. And it says it's unable to install. Okay. So it looks like it can't find prepared update in package kit. Okay. I'm just going to open up the console here. Then we'll kind of see what's up. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they're referring to with prepared update, but I'm going to do a sudo apt install prepared update just to see if that exists. And it doesn't. Oh wait. Apt not found. All right, let me do this. I'll hit apt get. Maybe that'll work. I'm used to using apt, but apparently I think we might have to do apt get. Just gonna go and magnify that a bit. Okay, apt get works, but still there's nothing called prepared update, which I'm not overly shocked, but let's try sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. We'll just do our update from the console. I think that'll be simpler. Like I said, this is not released to the public yet, so you're going to find little things in here. And I forgot to do apt get again. Here we go. So it is to be expected to find little hiccups, especially in something that's not released yet to the public. So it didn't. Oh, okay. Again, I forgot to say apt get on the upgrade part, so I'll just do the upgrade part separate. Apt get upgrade. Keep forgetting that get. Most of the time you don't have to put that in there in most Debian distros. I'm just going to hit yes. So there we go. Now we're getting our update coming in through the terminal, and that'll solve that issue. So that's how you do that. If you're somebody that uses the GUI for updates, sometimes you tend to have problems in some distros updating through the GUI, and that can happen in any distro. And so when you do that, it's good to know how to run your updates through the terminal, because that will give you a lot more feedback, and chances are you'll be able to update without any real issue. And you can at least see what the issue is too. So there we go. All right, so we got the updates out of the way, and just looking for htop, and that's not on there, so I'm just going to install that while I'm here. And I guess it would help if I spelled sudo right, so I'm going to hit my up arrow key and change that. Sudo, there we go. Invalid operation for htop. What? Oh, install. I guess it helps if you type in install. There we go. That's better. All right, so once we get this installed here, htop, then we'll run it real quick just to kind of see our resource usages. Being GNOME based desktop, I'm thinking it's going to be probably a gig point something. And yeah, 1.2 gig. So that's about par for the course. That's pretty much what I was expecting. And so that looks okay. And overall, pretty reasonable resource usage there. And let's see our kernel again real quick. I'll do a uname-r, and it is 5.18.0-4, just like during the boot up. Looking good. All right, so we'll close that, and nice magic lamp effect there. I like that. So the effects are really good in this, and this is GNOME too. So this is our software center, and this is our GNOME software center, and here we can see our featured products and lots of cool stuff. There's OBS Studio, and let's just click on that because I think that's one of those items that are available in a snap on Debian for the latest ones. And so apparently we got snap installed by default. Nice. There's our Makulu Linux snap designation up there. And so this is running 27.1.3, which is the latest stable. And if we click on this, we can see we got also a Flatpak choice, which is great. Or you can get it straight from the Debian Makulu Linux repo. And the FlatHub, it's nice to see that in there. And the repo version is probably an older version and not going to be 27.1.3. But, whoa, 27.2.4. Okay, totally wasn't expecting that. So actually, that's an even newer version, I think, than the one I was just looking at. So that is quite new, quite latest and greatest. That's impressive. Coming out of the Makulu Linux Deb repo. Really cool. And so let's do a search in here, and let's say I wanted to look for Hypnotics, something that's a little harder to find, something you typically don't find. And not there, but if we go here to our settings, there's additional repos in here, I believe. So if I just log in here and then come over to additional repositories, you can actually check other repos in here to add things in, like the Launchpad Bionic. And then we got we scroll down a little bit, we got stuff that even has proprietary stuff like the Microsoft and Skype, Opera. Nice. Even has some OpenSUSE, which is cool. There's Wine HQ, which will give us the latest and greatest version of Wine. I like seeing that too. So after checking those, I'll just hit OK. And I think we can even find harder to find things now that we added those repos. So I'm just going to close that, and then I'm going to close the Software Center and go into our console and do a sudo apt-get update. And we'll just update our package list here. And so that, I think, should synchronize now with this. So if I type in Hypnotics, it should not be there. What? Okay, let me go back to the console again real quick. Let's do a sudo apt-get Hypnotics and see if we get a hit. I forgot to do install again. Okay, let's apt-get install. Weird. I don't know why I'm spacing on install today. And there it is. So yeah, it is there now. Gonna hit Y. And so yeah, even some of the harder to find things, Hypnotics is actually a Linux Mint application. And typically outside of Mint, you don't normally see it just sitting there in the repos. So that's kind of cool. So that's kind of how you can expand some of your stuff there. And while I'm in here, I'm just going to go in the menu here and look for Synaptic, because I'm pretty sure we could have found that in the Synaptic package manager. I'm really kind of surprised that it didn't show up in the GNOME software. Maybe it needed a restart, I'm not sure, but I think that's kind of weird. So I'm just going to open up Synaptic. Synaptic is really one of my favorite GUI package managers anyway on Debian, because it is basically a front end for the console here, and it just really is fast and super reliable. I'm going to hit search and then just type in Hypnotics and see if we get a hit for it. It should show it that it's there installed already, and there it is. Excellent. So yes, I guess if you were looking for something a little harder to find, I would stick with Synaptic. Unless you need a snap or a flat pack anyway. So there we go, and it's showing that Hypnotics is installed. And of course, up here is where we would apply our install here, and we could even right click on it and just mark it for installation if it wasn't already installed. But it is, so we don't have to do that. And then you would just hit apply, of course. And let's do Inkscape too. There's Inkscape, and let's see what we got here. So that's 1.1.2, so that's a little bit older version of Inkscape. And of course, we're only accessing the Debian repos again. So not really the latest and greatest, but it is a stable version. Let's see what we got in our choices here. We should be able to choose from snaps and so forth from our GNOME software. So we'll just jump in here and hit our search and type in Inkscape again. And there we got a couple hits. So cool. I'll just select one here. And there we go if I scroll down. And this is also the same version, but if we go up here and select, see we have our other choices. So we got Flatpak and snaps. So I could just choose a snap. Wow, 1.3. I didn't know they had that out already in a snap. I'm going to click that, the dev version, and let's take a look at it. What the heck? I'm going to hit install and log in. And it says unable to install. It's asking for snap version 2.55.5. So apparently we have an older version of snap. Okay. So that is probably not something that's going to be really resolvable. But I'll just kind of do a sudo refresh snap and see what we get here. Actually, snap refresh, I think is how you do it. And it's shown, well, all the snaps are up to date anyway. I think I might have to do a snap version to actually see the version. But it's saying snap 2.55.5. Okay, so let's see what our current version is. But first, I think I'm just gonna restart the computer. Let's just do a restart and see if everything updates. And if it does, then we know all we had to do was restart. So I'll just close this off here and then just close everything and jump up and do a quick restart. And then I'll pause the video and I'll be back right after the restart. Okay, and I'm back logging in. And I'm not really holding my breath that the snap is going to be updated because I just don't think that that snap version is in the repo. But not a big deal because really by the time this is public, that's probably going to be a non-issue too. Again, this is a preview that's not really open to the public right now. So you kind of got to expect these little things here. And there's my terminal. Really like those effects. Those are really great. And so we'll just magnify that again. And I'm just going to just look at our snap version, see what we got. So snap double-hyphen version. And it's 2.54. So it's still, yeah, the older version of snap. So that really is just not going to work here with the GNOME software, which is not a big deal, but I'll just type it anyways and click on it just to say I did it. Due diligence and all that. So we do have our Flatpak option here. So that is probably the way I would go if I were going to be using this right now before it was fixed. But I'm sure by the time you see this video and it's publicly available, this is a non-issue. So I'll just install the Flatpak version. Now we got it installed. I paused the video there to save you the pain of watching the install. And so there you can see our 1.2, and I just selected a template. And so that should open right up, and there we are. Nice. So we got our newest pretty 1.2. We go into about there, we can confirm that. And so very nice. Loving it. And so we'll just close that and cool effects again. Wow. So we'll just close everything and beautiful backgrounds. Love the backgrounds in this release here too. I bet they have a lot of great wallpapers and we'll kind of get to that, but let's look at our desktop manager first real quick and just kind of get a feel for this. Here we got our dock layout here, which is what I think is defaulting, but if I hit this, panel layout, then we can change it to a panel. And I just clicked on the dark theme right there for panel. So it should give us a panel with a dark theme. And there we go. Wow, we got our traditional panel there at the bottom, as you can see. And it's got the dark gray, semi-transparent gradient there, which is really nice. Then we got a full launcher menu, GNOME style. And that's beautiful, love it. And so let's just jump back into the desktop manager again. And it even gave us there's our special effects setting. Like I was saying, it even gave us a different background when I changed that, so that's cool. So magic lamp, wobbly windows, and T-Rex, which gives windows and dialog boxes a tear effect like that. That's cool. And I love that twirling too, that is really neat. Those effects are great. And here we can set our accents and so forth. So if I was going to open up my file manager, which is here, and just kind of shrink that down. Love the wobbly windows. Nice. And this isn't even KDE. They must be using Compiz or something. That's cool. Here you can see we change our folder colors, and you can, that green is nice. You can make it yellow. You can do this violet color. That looks really nice actually. And here we can change our different cursor styles. And so when we close that, we go back into our desktop manager again. And here's our wallpaper manager. So here's where we can select some wallpaper. And wow, that's really cool. So if we look off to the side here, we got all this and beautiful layout. I really like the way this is laid out. I'm just going to minimize that so we can see our wallpaper better. And so I'm thinking they're probably using variety here, which is really great. And tons of wallpaper to choose from. Just beautiful wallpaper. This is really great. I like that one actually. That is cool. That works for me actually. And so let's see what else we got here. Beautiful. All kinds of landscapes and fantasy type artwork, and just really super impressive. And if I remember in the Makulu Shift review, there was a lot of nice wallpaper to choose from too. So this is really impressive. I really like having a lot of wallpaper to choose from. For me, that's a big plus. And so if we scroll down here, just it goes on and on. There's just so many wallpapers to choose from. I could probably spend 3 hours in here just going through wallpapers. Wow, this is great. And love the colors. Everything is really just looking good for any layout. Really nice. And I think there's something in there for everybody. So I'm going to stick with this one. I like this wallpaper. So I'm just going to hit close here. I right-clicked over the wallpaper selection there. And then closing will get me out of that. And so back in our wallpaper, our desktop manager, this is Makulu Constructor. And this is something I think is really cool. The Constructor 2 lets you take a snapshot of your distro. So once you get this set up the way you want it, and you got everything arranged and installed just the way you want it, this will actually let you create an ISO of your setup, except it doesn't copy over your profile or none of that information. So that way you can make your own custom ISO that you can copy onto other desktops for other people, and you won't compromise your profiles. So that is really a wonderful feature. I really like that. It gives you an easy way to make a customized install. And then here's our tweaks. So here we can tweak like individual components at a time. Like here you can change your shell or your sound settings, your icons, and then your image wallpaper, stretch and zoom. So this way you can kind of just fine tune it. Like if you wanted a different color icon, but you wanted the purple accents, that's where you can do it. Here's our keyboard settings. Here it looks like everything looks good just right off the bat. You got your Emacs input if you're a big Emacs user. And then here's where your startup applications, you can remove any of those if you want, or just add them in there by hitting the plus button down there. Variety, yep, so we do have variety. So that was our wallpaper selector, nice. Here's our clock settings, and if you want to display seconds, you can just toggle that. So down there it would show up the seconds. Now you can see it in the panel there. So that's how you would toggle seconds on and off. And so again, I would probably just leave everything at their default. Our window title bars is nice. Makes it really easy to change. Here you can see our maximize and minimize buttons are turned on. If you don't like having them up here in the corner for some strange reason, you can turn those off and they'll disappear just like that. Now you only have an X. Pretty cool. But I think I'm going to turn them on. And you can also move those buttons over to the left by clicking left. And now they're over here just like you would have on a Macintosh. So if you're more comfortable with them on the left, you can easily place them over there. And then here we got our window settings, which again, I would just leave at our default. So let's right click and let's see what else we got here. So let's look at our customize settings here. So here we can kind of customize our desktop layout. And these are kind of like tweaking your icons that are on your desktop. So let me just slide this file manager out of the way here a little bit. And then we'll bring that up. And as you can see, we got our icons kind of spaced out a certain way. And if we slide this thing, this will space them horizontally. And so that slider will let you do that. Or you can space vertically if you want them closer together. You can scrunch them up a bit like that. Or you can go the other way and make them farther apart. And then here we got auto arrange, and then our icon sizes. So here we can make it smaller if you want smaller icons, or you can make them large, or you can make them humongous. I think I'll stick with normal here. And then reset grid spacing will reset it back to the default settings in case you get it so screwed up that you can't fix it. That'll bail you out. Nice. So let's just jump in here and take a quick look at our apps. So here you can see all our default apps installed and pretty much your standard GNOME stuff here. And there's our extension manager if you want to look at your extensions. And so that's kind of cool. All those extensions are kind of what your layouts are automatically toggling in here, but you can turn things on and off manually if you like tweaking and tinkering with your extensions. So these are all the GNOME extensions that kind of go with this, which is really nice. So a lot of stuff in here set up. And there's our dash to dock and our compiz. So we are running compiz. I was suspecting, but I wasn't sure. So compiz is giving us all those cool effects. So really like that. I thought that was a great idea. And looks like shortcuts for apt is not currently working because of a new update to GNOME, which is kind of typical. And that would kind of explain the whole apt thing there, I guess, in the console. And then we have our portal, Makulu, and our keyboard layout, Synaptic, software bundles, our file search, Samba share. That's cool. That makes setting up if you got a Windows network. And there's Hypnotics that we installed earlier. Almost forgot about that. I think I'll just open that real quick and make sure it works. So Hypnotics is a pretty cool IPTV app. And if we just hit USA here, and I'll just select something I know works, CNN, and there we go. And some guy talking about some guy named Doge. So cool. Yeah, that's our TV app, and that's cool. You can maximize that and watch TV. Cool. And then finally on our third page here, these are the rest of the things that are pre-installed. We got our tweaks and VLC media player. Like to see that. There's what we installed there earlier, HTOP and Inkscape. And so wonderful. And XFCE terminal. Wow. Okay. Didn't expect that to be in there. I love XFCE terminal. So that is a fantastic choice. And then we have our users and groups, time and date settings, time shift. All fantastic. So then over here, you'll notice that we got 3 browsers installed. We have Google, Firefox, and Opera. That is really cool. So we wanted to give you some good choices there. And I think it's kind of cool we got Opera in there. Opera is a really nice browser in my opinion. It's pretty fast. These are our numlock indicators and cap lock. And you can even go in the settings and kind of tweak that if you want to tweak how it's displayed. But the default is good. And so if I were to turn on my numlock settings, then the numlock indicator will light up down here in the panel. So if I just hit my key, then it shows that numlock is on, and then it's off when I turn it off. So I hit it again, you see our numlock. And same with the cap locks. If I press my cap lock key, then it'll show that cap locks is on and that it's lit up down there. And now cap locks are off. So that's a nice handy little indicator to tell when those are on and off. Then here we have our keyboard shortcuts. And I like that too. That is another nice thing that you got easy access to, more keyboard shortcuts and a nice reference. So great to have. I think that's cool. And then here we got our private mode settings, which is cool. And then you can tweak some things in here, which is nice on your desktop. And so you can untoggle any of these that you don't want and toggle them back on. So these are all off by default, I believe, but I just toggle large text and everything went big. And then we have our keyboard settings. So you could instantly change it to UK style right there, and any other language to choose from. So I like that you have that there. And then here's our calendar, and it's got other cool stuff in here. That's one thing I kind of like in the GNOME. And they got this weather feature in here, and I think that is also very cool. So we could put a city in here like maybe Luton. See how the weather is there. A little north of London, a little south of Bedford, and it's 18 beautiful balmy degrees. Wow, that's way better than the extreme heat of a week or so ago. Wow. So looking good. And there's our daily forecast, so you can look ahead, and just looks like a pretty decent week, at least temperature wise. So that's our weather app, and there it shows up right there when you open up our calendar. And so that's a really cool feature. I like that. I think that's a really neat thing that got added in here lately into GNOME, at least as far as I know. And then here we have our speaker settings, wired connections settings, and our power strip where you can log out and all that. So those are our panel settings. Pretty nice. And then these are our normal settings up here. I just got here by right clicking. Here's our appearance. So we're in light right now for our theme, but if you want to switch to dark, we can do that right there as well from our settings menu. And so now we're in dark mode, and that looks beautiful. I think I'll keep that. And then we have all our usual stuff that you find in a GNOME desktop. Nothing really new here, users, and that's a good thing actually. So if we click on the avatar, we can just choose one, and I think I'll go with maybe the butterfly. Yeah, that looks good. That's kind of different. And then if we go to About here, we can see a little bit of information about our hardware and what we're running, and the OS name here, Makulu Linux Max Debian. Nice. And 42.3.1 is our GNOME version with using X11 windowing system. And then our software update settings are here. So if you want to do your updates, you can just click that right there and update those. It looks like we got a few available already, but I don't think we need to install those again. I like the wobbly windows, and let's see what file manager. Nemo. Ah, wow, beautiful. I love it. Okay, I like Nemo. A fine choice in file managers there. That would be my choice on a GNOME system for sure. So yes, I think I've made it all the way through the gamut here, and I can't think of anything else that I didn't cover. So I guess it's time for my 2 cents, maybe 2.5. But this is Makulu Max. So Makulu Max, I think, really is the best of both worlds here. Some people might be confused on the different versions because you have Makulu Shift, Makulu GameR, and now Makulu Max coming out. And Makulu Shift, you got all the different layouts that you can choose from. You can shift from a Mac OS layout to a Windows 7 look to a Windows 10 or a Ubuntu look, and you can just shift to all these different layouts, or a GNOME desktop or a KDE type desktop. It's like switching desktops within the same distro instantly in Makulu Shift. And GameR, I really haven't looked too much into GameR, but GameR, I'm assuming, is more oriented towards GameR and probably doesn't use the shift. So definitely worth a look at. And in my opinion, I think this Makulu Max is going to be a real winner, because I think they're pretty accurate when they say the best of both worlds, rather than having all these different layouts that you shift between. It's more simplified, where you can go between a panel layout and a dock layout, and also easily shift between dark and light mode. And on top of that, you got all these cool effects that are available thanks to the Compiz extension there. And I really like how they integrated the Compiz right into it. And of course, special effects, if you don't like those, can be easily turned off in your desktop manager as well under special effects. So all you got to do is toggle the switch and turn off the special effects, and they're gone. But if you do like special effects, these effects are just gorgeous, and I think it really adds a nice touch to the whole desktop. So I think Makulu Max is going to be a winner. I like this a lot, and I don't know if they're going to have a premium version of this or if this is just something that's going to be 100% community, but whatever, I am looking forward to finding out, and I'm going to keep an eye on this because I can't wait till it's officially released to the public and available for download. And like I said at the beginning of the video, they got the new shift coming up, the GameR. And by the way, Makulu Shift by default I think is based on Ubuntu. And so this is a Debian Makulu Max. And if I remember right, they might even have a Debian shift. I don't recall again. But the Makulu Max definitely is a Debian release. When it comes out after the GameR, then I will be there to check it out. So they want to get the GameR out first, and then once that's released, I think Max will be right behind it. I gotta agree with the devs. This already looks very stable. There's only just a couple little hiccups there with the Snap version not working there. So that was just a minor thing. And that minor little thing with the update not working in the software center for some reason. But again, another minor thing, and that might have actually worked after I did the update in the console, and thereafter it may work again in the GUI. I didn't try that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it would. But anyways, if that's the biggest bugs that are existing here in this release already before it's released to the public, then you got to know how stable this is going to be for sure. So with that, this is actually a big double thumbs up for me. And I think when it's available and you can download this, or if you are a Patreon of the Makulu project, you can grab it right now. And I hope all that was helpful. And if it was, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And hit subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.